How you out there today? This is your boy Buster Wolf from S.M.A.R.T. Tactical. I'm coming to you today to talk about a product that I've been working with over the past few weeks from a company called CoolFire. What we have here is their pretty much a dry fire enhancement system. When you think of dry firing, you think of maybe being in a static position, wherever you decide to call your training area, living room, basement, garage, backyard. You have your targets maybe strategically placed in an area, and you practice pulling from the holster, driving, getting that good target acquisition. It could be timed or untimed, and squeezing the trigger. Identifying your target, positive ID, squeezing the trigger, resetting the slide, maybe even reholstering. You could implement transitioning, mags in there and going back out. And that is great because you're getting familiar with target acquisition, the feel of the trigger pull, where that wall is right before you break it. All those are positive, enhancements to dry firing. Um, but where's your feedback coming from? Well, you could say, well, I go to the range and I can see that my dry fire is helping, and that's true. I have greatly improved, should I say, being able to acquire a target acquisition, and coming up on a target faster, and actually getting the rounds where I physically see. All those due to different changes in body mechanics, the way that I draw and everything. And over time, I've built up the confidence that I know that where I point my pistol or the weapon system that I'm using at that point in time, that's where it's gonna go. Um, but how would you like to have feedback while you're dry firing? And this is where the CoolFire system comes into. This technology has been out for quite some time, but this gives you direct feedback while you're firing the weapon system, because it has capabilities which will allow you to see exactly when you're pushing out, where your actual aim, sight alignment and point of aim is actually impacting on the targets. So we're gonna get into this. I'm gonna give you, my spills, my thoughts about it, and stay tuned. Okay, so before we begin, let me just explain one thing. This CoolFire system uh, is actually mated to this weapons platform. So it's mated for the P320. I have an M18. It's clear. There's no mags or anything inside. There's nothing, no weapon. Has no projectiles can come out. It's mated for this system. Now they do make a system for other firearms, Glock, Smith and Wesson. You just have to contact them and let them know which weapons platform you have. So I was using it with the M18 P320, and just for a little extra information, because when we talk about dry firing, you could be dry firing with empty magazines. You could be using dummy rounds for extracting and simulation of stoppage and stuff like that. So the M18, and this is not a hey, let's get SIG involved, but just to let you know that there's going to be some weight differences. The M18 stock standard is roughly about 1.7 pounds. Right now, in its current configuration, it's 1.8 pounds. So I have the Leopold Delta Point Pro, and then I have the Surefire X300. I believe this is the UA on it. And this is just standard, no nothing. In its current configuration, unloaded, 1.8 pounds. In its current configuration with a full magazine to include, 20 man capacity, this is bumps up to 2.6 pounds. So yeah, there is a big weight difference. We're gonna check to see what it weighs when we take out, the OEM barrel, spring mechanisms, and input what comes in this box. So I just wanted to throw this out there that you may see some weight differences when adding components, taking away components, dry firing with a basic stock configuration, or if you've added any kudos or licky chewies to your weapons platform. So all right, let's get into this thing right here. So what comes in the box? Well, I kind of did a sneak peek already, so I kind of know what comes in the box when they send it to you. So they give you the IR sensor. This is where you would actually fill your canister, your CO2 canister, which is off screen right now. This is also, if I'm not mistaken, your laser range pointer, so you can identify your targets. So let you know this is for a P320. It's a serialized unit. So it comes with the barrel. Spring assembly. This is your canister where you'd actually, this is your valve release. You'd open it up and stick the CO2 in there and then feed it through. I'm not going to keep that, but they give you a sticker. For soda maker adapter, I don't plan on utilizing those. Okay, and then these are the care kit. It says care kit, but these are dry firing aids. You can stick these in your magazine, so when the slide does cycle, it will not cause the slide to lock back. This will help the system continue to cycle while you're dry firing, getting not only the feeling of dry firing, but you know the whole experience of technically shooting in your house without sending projectiles through your walls and entering and damaging other people. And they give you a lubricant to make sure that the slide can reciprocate, no issue. Actually, they give you two. And then the reactive targets, which you can physically see the laser identify on, indicating if you've had a hit. So again, it's like having a range at your house. You're dry firing, drawing from the holster. You're dry firing, pressing out and getting good target acquisition, whatever body mechanics you decide to use. And then if you're, like I said, red dot or iron sights, there's so many ways that you can actually, use dry firing techniques with. You don't have to have a red dot. I know a lot of people have gone to red dots transition. I myself have transitioned to a red dot. I did find that it does help me acquire the targets a little bit faster than using, just the basic iron sights. My eyes are a little bit more receptive to it. But if you're traditional and you want to stick to dry firing with iron sights, that's cool. As long as everybody's out there getting some type of training, right? Now, the one thing that you may have noticed is there's no instruction manual, and that's all right because they give you this little QR tag that you can utilize your your phone or tablet or whatever smart device that you have to get inside there and download the instructions on how to set this configuration up. So let's get into that right now, and we can show what it looks like all assembled. I'm gonna pretty much lock my slide to the rear, rotate my takedown, and walk my slide off. Remove my spring assembly, remove my OEM barrel, replace it with their barrel. And the one thing I noticed about this when I tried it is a little tricky when you put their barrel in to your weapons assembly. It's a little bit tricky. Gotta make sure I get that in there right because it does fit in there one certain way. And as you're sliding it onto your rail, the way that the barrel is set up, the way that the barrel is set up in this system, this cannot be down like fully extended out. The takedown cannot be. You have to kind of like almost keep it up maybe at the 6 o'clock so that when you go to bring it back, there's no hiccups and you can actually lock that back into place because it is kind of funny that way. See, it's kind of weird. And that's because the spring, if you ever notice, like the SIGs are kind of like oblong right here, and that's round, and so it's kind of sitting, against the takedown. At any rate, Um, if you have a P320 or any other SIG and they made in the same comparison, then if you have this CoolFire system, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's it. Actually, with this, the slide really reciprocates. I mean, it just nothing you can. So that's pretty much just putting the weapon together. Having the barrel in there along with the spring. Um, Weight wise, yeah, it seems maybe the same. Uh, it seems maybe the same as far as having your traditional barrel, the actual OEM barrel, and as well as the spring assembly inside of it. But I mean, it seems like it's pretty much well balanced. So, all right. So now that we have this together, let's talk about adding on the CO2 cartridge, filling it up, and then you know how we intend on engaging our targets. Now, with this training regimen, CoolFire did send us a 60-liter already full of CO2 and a cylinder. Again, we talked about this earlier. This is going to be your valve release that you're going to be able to send the CO2 uh, to the barrel, which is technically a secondary canister, which will hold all the CO2 for compression and activate your uh, slide to actually uh, go to the rear, reciprocate, giving you the sensation of you actually physically firing the weapon system. So we're going to take our valve release, place it on it. I'm going to put that, make sure that that's in the off position when we go ahead and do the install of this. And we should turn it on when we want to release. This should be actually enacted by compressor. You should have heard that pop. Easier if I actually take the weapon light off. And that should have given us a fill. So we're going to close our valve. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert our magazine. Again, this is with the supply dummy round, which is actually going to allow our slide to continually go through the motion of cycling. Okay, and we're going to do a test fire. And that recoil was pretty good on camera. That was a pretty good recoil. So now that we have this weapon system charged, let's take it out for a run. So what do we think about the CoolFire training system? It's pretty decent. I think that it adds a lot of training value to you if you already have a dry firing regimen that's in place. I think that it can do some enhancements as far as like recoil management while you're away from the range. Gives you that sense of actually firing a system that actually has ball ammo in it. The pros, I would say, again, yeah, the realism of it, and then also, of course, cost effective. Now, the system that I had was roughly $640. So one may think, okay, you have to put that into place. The cost of ammunition nowadays. Would you be willing to actually, substitute that for, you know, going to the range and just throwing a whole bunch of rounds down and hopefully that you can, get them to where you to land, or would you want to put something like this in your toolkit to use it for later? And then, then you have to look at the cost of CO2 charges. On average, per charge, I was getting about like 9 shots. Um, give or take, sometimes it may even been 7. So you get 7 shots and then you have to recharge. You may not want to continue to go back and refill every time you want to dry fire, and it depends on your duration time to dry fire, how many times you dry fire a week, and the likes. But for for a $640 system that you can actually pretty much have a open range in your house, uh, you I think one would have to weigh out. You'd have to count the cost, I guess. Um, I could not get the laser to actually attach to my weapon system. Um, I did not reach out to CoolFire on that, so it's no fault of theirs. It's more so a fault on mine, but I did not try to reach out. So I didn't get that actual laser range sight to actually function on the on the system itself. As you can see in the video previously, I was firing without it. Also, I didn't think that it was actually going to fit in my holster. So that could have been something addition that I could have added, and it may have given me a little bit more feedback. But I was running a red dot. I was watching the rise of my dot. Even with the dot off, I was watching my front sight, being aware of the target. So I was able to get some good data as far as coming back. Not having everything in tune with it, it is a pretty functional system. Cons, recharging again, like I said, yeah, 7 to 8 shots, that's cool, but then you got to go back and recharge. A lot of the CO2 is pushing back your slide, which, there's no weight in the difference in the slide. The barrel may be a little bit lighter, but your slide is your slide. So a lot of that CO2 is going to, be used to push and let that slide cycle. So therefore, it's going to be, used a lot faster. So recharging, if you're just all about, dry firing, presenting that weapon system, dry firing, let me go ahead and, rack the slide back in. Yeah. It could be time consuming in between recharging, but again, it was so minimalistic. But yeah, again, that is one of the things that I will bring up. I'm not sure if they have it. Maybe you may get more, uh, you know, times in between charges if you have a different weapons platform. It depends on, like I said, I was running a P320 and I was roughly getting 7 to 8 before I actually had to go and recharge the system. But at the end, overall, good. I think that the value of the system is pretty good. Again, ammunition is pretty high, and although you could be dry firing, at the home, this gives you that little bit of an addition to what you're just used to, just squeezing, racking, presenting, squeezing, racking, presenting. You are getting actual shots in between, and I think that it's a benefit. So as we always know, this is your boy Boss Wolf for Smart Tactical. You know what we do. Live to train, train to fight, and fight to live. Continue to keep training on out there. If you haven't heard of CoolFire or any other type of dry fire enhancement systems, I'm gonna drop a link right here to their website, and you can go check them out at your leisure. Could be something that you could be interested in. Like I said, there are other programs out there. You just got to do your research and factor it in if you want to take the plunge into enhancing your dry fire regimens. If you're gonna not worry about that and you're gonna continue to dry fire, hey, you know what? There are other alternatives out there that you can use too as well. Like I said, the mantis and other things like that, which will enhance and get you to get on target a little bit faster and help you track your shots. So, with that being said, take care, be safe out there, keep training always.